Hola, profesores de español. Hi, Spanish teachers. Teresa here, and I want to give you an overview of the activities for Teach and Learn Spanish Academy in the month of July. Well, as you can imagine, 4th of July is right away at the beginning of July. So my suggestion is you start with the 4th of July activities. And you'll notice that part of your visuals and flashcards for the month of July include pictures of very typical things that we do and we say in the United States for the 4th of July. For example, the parade, el desfile. And if you want to say, let's go to the parade, you say, vamos al desfile. And there's many more, for example, the flag, la bandera. Here we have the 4th of July, if you want to teach how to say that, and happy 4th of July, etc. So you've got all of these beautiful visuals. This one is the float, la carroza. So along with that activity, you have flashcards of the same vocabulary words. This is the candy, that's one of the pictures. Los caramelos. This is the band, la banda. So if your students are old enough to read, there's a fun matching activity where you can have them match the vocabulary flashcard with the visual. Then there's another fun activity for 4th of July in which you will use the visuals of the flags. And you will have the language in one of the activities to tell your students in Spanish, put the American flag on the parade, or put the American flag on the flag, or put the American flag on the 4th of July. As you're saying that in Spanish, again, I give you the vocabulary to do so inside the membership site. You can put a piece of tape on the back, and the kiddo whose turn it is will then take this and actually put it on the visual that you direct them to. So that's a fun 4th of July activity. Then moving on, one of my very favorite activities for the entire Teach and Learn Spanish Academy year is the song in English, there was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, and you learn the lyrics in Spanish so you can learn and teach this song to your students. It's super fun. So, the dog in Spanish, we say un perro, a dog, un perro. Now, for each letter in Bingo's name, there's his name, Bingo, but you have a visual with the letter. And you always, again, remember you have the pronunciation at the bottom. So, B in Spanish, we say be. Then you have a letter for I is E. That's how we say I in Spanish, E. And Ne is N. He is G. And O is O. O is the easy one. It's O in English and O in Spanish. So now the fun part comes when you're singing the song. I want you to see on the back of each letter, you've got hands clapping, because if you're familiar with this song in English, which I bet you are, you clap the letter. So what I would do is I would actually tape the letters on the wall, like behind me or in the back of the room, or I sit my students with me in a circle and I lay the letters down on the floor in a circle. And then after we sing each letter, I turn it over and we clap the letter. So there was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, first time we say bay, e, and a hey, oh. We sing all the letters, but then the second time through, we don't say bay, we clap it. So I would show the kids this visual and we'd say e and a hey, oh, e and a hey, oh. E and a hey oh, e say Yamaba bingo. So I just want you to know that you can turn the letters over and you do clappings instead of saying the letters. And all of this is very well described inside, well, down below, I should say, in this membership site. But that is super fun and the kids love it. And it's a really cute song in Spanish. Then moving on, you get to practice the alphabet and you're going to start spelling words with your students. You're going to start naming different colors. You have color flashcards. Blue is azul, yellow amarillo, etc. Then a really fun activity that goes along with the month of July. After you practice the colors, is the flower activity and the petal activity. So you've got the visuals of flowers. This is a red, rojo, pink, rosado, blue, azul. And you also have petals for each of the flowers. And you will direct your students to put, for example, el petal azul en la flor azul. So after this activity, the flowers will all have their matching petals. And again, this is all broken down in the activities that you'll find below. If you put the flowers on the wall, of course, you can put masking tape in each of the petals so that your students just have to put the petal right on the flower and it'll stick. But if you're doing this activity on the floor, of course, you don't need the tape and your students can just lay the petals on the flowers. So that was, let's see here. I'm looking for another petal. Here is the pink flower and the pink petal. So you have 5 petals for each of the flowers. Okay, there you go. After that, you can do an activity that's blowing bubbles. There's a fun song that I made up. Literally, it's the word bubbles, and you just sing it over and over to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. And the word bubbles in Spanish, it's kind of a long word, but this is how I teach it. I say, okay, boys and girls, you're going to learn how to say bubbles in Spanish. Everybody pretend you're cold and say burr, burr. Then pretend you want to scare Miss Teresa and say boo, boo. And then just say has. Ha. So put that together now with me. Ready? Burbujas. 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 Well, you may not realize it, but you just said the word bubbles in Spanish. There you go. And so then you'll play the audio file and it will walk your students through pretending to blow a bubble and then singing the word burbujas over and over to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. Burbujas, burbujas, burbujas. Burbujas, burbujas, burbujas. Make your bubble bigger as we sing. Burbujas, burbujas, burbujas. Okay, everybody pop your bubble, clap your hands. And we say break the bubble in Spanish. Rompan las burbujas. So there you go. That's that activity. And then the last activity in the month of July is actually you get to go on a picnic together and you learn very typical food words that we eat on picnics. For example, a cookie, una galleta, a hamburger, una hamburguesa, potato chips, unas papas fritas, and a hot dog. A lot of us have hot dogs on picnics. Un perro caliente. And there's a fun activity that you can do on the picnic. You actually have visuals of little flies, la mosca, and you put, or a student puts a fly in one of the foods, and the kids have to take turns kind of slapping or tapping the fly. You're trying to get rid of it. But the activity really requires you and your students to listen and speak the Spanish words in order to get rid of la mosca, the fly. So I'll repeat it as I always do. Even if you just do one of these activities for the month of July, be proud of yourself and realize how much more Spanish you're bringing into your classroom than you probably ever did before using Teach and Learn Spanish Academy. If you need help, if you need motivation, I am there for you. Send me an email, give me a call, send me a text message. I would be happy to meet on a Zoom training with you to build you back up, to help you plan your lesson for the month. But hopefully you find that the membership site does all of that for you. And I am your biggest cheerleader. Have fun teaching Espanol in the month of Julio. Hasta luego.